You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly was on the SEC Coaches Teleconference on Wednesday, as he will be throughout the course of the season. And as he did on Tuesday, he started by giving some thoughts on LSU playing Southern in the intra-city rivalry.
We're excited about playing crosstown institution and an HBCU school in Southern. I think it's great for the city, brings the community together. Obviously a lot of history and tradition here that goes into playing this game. It's the first time, for us in playing an HBCU school. So we're excited about it. LSU and Southern playing at Tiger Stadium. It's our first home game. Certainly, we want to be able to bounce back from a very disappointing loss. And obviously, get on the right track. So excited about the opportunity this Saturday.
And look, I think it's going to be a great day. Hopefully it's a great day. Hopefully there's good weather. It's rained every day for like 3 months now. Hopefully the weather's nice and the city comes together and all that is fantastic. And LSU is going to win the game. We all know that. The bigger picture issue is, can LSU iron out some of the issues that it has? And it looks like LSU is going to make some changes. At least it sounds like it. Of course, with Mason Smith's injury, it's going to change some things on the defensive front. Brian Kelly alluded to the fact that you'll see more of Savion Jones, Desmond Little, some of the guys that give you depth as they shuffle positions. Mekhi Wingo is going to step into that starting role, and you'll see more of Jacoby and Guillory. But really on the offensive line, I think, is kind of the big question, and whether or not we see changes on Saturday on that offensive line after they struggled so mightily against Florida State.
I think everything is up for evaluation. It's, certainly early in the season, and we're still, trying to put what we consider the best combinations out there. And so I wouldn't say that, we're at a point where we feel like, all 22 positions are, etched in stone, and there are still competitive battles for positions. And in particular, I think the offensive line is one where we're going to continue to evaluate as we go from week to week.
I think that's really interesting and probably not tremendously surprising, but when he says all 22 positions aren't etched in stone, they're still looking for starters, so they clearly didn't come out of camp with 22 starters that they were comfortable would start the entirety of the season. Now, injuries already caused some of that to change, but on the offensive line in particular, I would suggest that Cam Wire is probably the odd man out here. Because whenever you started camp, you had your five that we talked about a lot. And it was from left to right. You had Will Campbell, Tremont Shorts, Garrett Dellinger, Bradford at right guard, and then at right, well, actually, you had Frazier at right guard, Bradford at right tackle. What's interesting is Shorts became the odd man out. They moved Frazier to guard and Wire to right tackle. If Wire was initially the odd man out, I would suggest that he's probably the first man out here, because Cam Wire certainly didn't have a great game. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not just pinpointing all of the struggles on Cam Wire, but he struggled, and everybody really struggled at different points. But if you're thinking, okay, who gets the opportunity? Well, the change was Shorts went out, Wire went in, and you shuffle things. The most obvious change would be going back to the line that you started with and ran most of camp with, and that was Campbell, Shorts, Dellinger, Frazier, Bradford. I tend to like Bradford better at right guard. Frazier was a freshman All-SEC tackle a year ago. Put him at right tackle. Put Shorts in at guard and see how that goes. For what it's worth, Shorts, 6'5", 340. Frazier, 6'6", 323. Frazier's built more like a tackle anyway. A little more athletic, a little more fleet. Put him out at right tackle. Put Shorts at left guard where you had him, 6'5", 340. And you get Shorts and Bradford as your two guards. Bookending or sandwiching Dellinger. You have a massive interior of your line there. That's probably your best bet. I don't know his name, but Zero from Florida State, who played the right, defensive tackle position, really gave Frazier a lot of trouble at guard. I'd probably go bigger. Ultimately, I think Emory Jones, who was running at second-team left guard throughout the bulk of camp, is a guy that could take over. My hesitancy there right now is if you start Emory Jones, then the entire left side of your line is 2 true freshmen with Campbell and Jones. That don't sound like a great recipe right now. I think any 5 you run out against Southern are going to have success. The question is, would you rather keep the 5 you had against Florida State and allow them to develop more continuity, or try a different lineup to see if you have more success, which inevitably you will against Southern as opposed to Florida State, but which is more valuable right now? For me, I want my best 5 on the field. I want my best 5 on the field, and I think that was the first 5 you went with in camp, and I'd like to see how that looks. A couple of other things that Brian Kelly talked about. He did go in a little more detail today about Joe Foucha and why he is being held out right now.
Joe has been amazing. It really has to do with some technical issues relative to, credit hours and transfer credit hours. And so it's really difficult for me to get into the specifics of it, but it's really unfortunate. Joe's done everything we've asked him to do, but sometimes in the transfer process, credit hours are earned and lost. And, he was put into a very, difficult situation relative to gaining hours. So, yeah, we're in that process. Certainly, Joe's been great in everything that we've asked him to do, and we're hoping to get him back as soon as we can.
One of the things Kelly did mention is Foucha's issue did not stem from anything since it's been at LSU. It was a credit transfer hours issue. I dealt with that personally. I've told you my freshman year I went to Holy Cross in South Bend, transferred to LSU. When I transferred, I had a 1 credit hour course that I had to take at Holy Cross I took a 4-hour Spanish credit course at Holy Cross, and only 3 hours were accepted at LSU. Honest to goodness, true story, I got to my final semester of college. I was prepared to graduate, and I was a December graduate. It was October. One of the graduation counselors called me in and told me I was a credit short of graduating. And I said, and what are you going to do to fix this? Because they essentially signed my my class list for that fall semester with me on track to graduate, and then they caught the mistake of the credit hour not transferring. And so I ended up taking a 1-hour typing course online to get a credit that I needed to graduate, and I graduated. But that's something that is common. When you transfer, different schools sometimes don't honor credits obtained at another school the same way. It happened to me personally. So it looks like it's happened to Joe Foucha here as well, and hopefully they get him back quickly. But in the meantime, they've been good at safety. I think they're good at safety with Ward and Burns back there either way. Those were your 2 leading tacklers against Florida State. Foucha just adds tremendous depth and experience there. And the other thing that Brian Kelly talked about of note was the plan at punt returner for the week after Malik Neighbors muffed a couple against Florida State.
I think we all know what we want to see, and that's, obviously fielding the ball cleanly. We thought we saw that, but, we've added some additional drills where, we have some distractions in front of the punter, obviously forcing him to get his eyes trained properly. So, Malik's going to stay back there and work some. We're not going to fire him from his duties. He's got to continue to work there. And we've added, obviously, Sage Ryan's been back there. He'll continue to work back there. And we've got a couple of young players that are going to get some work as well and see where that takes us through the week.
The really tough part about that right now is it's almost like the driving range analogy. I don't care if you hit them straight on the range. If you can't bring it to the course, that's all that really matters. We talk about that with field goal kickers. You can drill them all day long in practice, but once you get out there in a game situation under the lights, can you make them? And it's similar with a punt returner. I don't care how many punts you successfully fielded in practice. If you can't do it in the game, you can't play that position. You can't establish that role. You can't fill that role. And we've seen it before. This happened with Dante Jackson. It's why Tre'Davious White returned punts in 2016 and Dante Jackson returned kickoffs. Dante Jackson couldn't field punts consistently. And then in 2017, when Jackson still returned kickoffs, it was E.J. Chark who returned punts because they didn't trust Dante Jackson to catch the punt. So I love Malik Neighbors. I think he's magnificent and is going to have a fantastic year for LSU. And it sounds like they're going to give him another crack at returning punts in a game. And I love the fact that in the game, after he muffed the punt, they went right back to him and threw him the football to keep him engaged, which was very smart. Great play call by Mike Denbrock to get him engaged there and to go right back to him. But you can't let Malik Neighbors return punts. You cannot risk having him put another ball on the ground. You can't let him figure it out. You've got to put someone back there that's shorthanded. It sounds like they're going to give him another try, but if it were me, Malik Neighbors is not holding that job anymore. You had 2 cracks at it. You put them both on the ground. It's got to be somebody else. We'll see what they do this week against Southern. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.